Hey, welcome to Wildman Videos. This episode we're going to talk about the restoration of the Hercules 2 truck. Okay, in this episode, we're talking about the restoration of Hercules. So, originally, Hercules was a street-driven truck that Scott drove, him and his wife. They went to a lot of truck shows and things, enjoyed it, built it up as a show truck on 44s, and then eventually got the bug to build a monster truck. It was just like everybody else in those early days. He went a little bit at a time. He put deuce and a half axles under it to start with. But he did go right to the 66-inch tires. He didn't mess around with the 48s like a lot of guys. Of course, then he went to 5 tons, and then eventually to the 5 tons with the Clark Planetaries. Now, later on, this truck turned into Barefoot Sport. They painted it blue when he worked the deal out with Fred Schaefer. They painted it blue, put the newer body style on it. And then later on, when he built the Barefoot Racer, that's when this truck got turned back to burgundy and made back into Hercules, and he sold it to Tim Tesmer. And then Tim ran it for a few years till he built a new truck. And then the truck sold to Dave Rappage, who has Rap Attack. And Dave Rappage had it all these years parked in the corner of his shop. He took all the good parts off from it. And we knew it was there for years. And we worked the deal out with Dave and got it back in 2010. Okay, when we got the truck back from Dave Rappage, it didn't have any planetaries. It was just the 5-ton center sections with the flanges. So we decided we would take some trailer axle spindles and weld flanges onto them. And that's why there's some pictures out there with the little 5-lug wheels and tires on it. We just bolted a trailer axle spindle right to the axle housing and was able to use it for moving it around. Then one of the neat things is when we were building Barefoot, we didn't want to put the high dollar planetaries back under Hercules. We're never planning on doing anything crazy with that. It doesn't need the strength. So we took one set of 5-ton axles, a set of front axles. We cut the ends off from them, flanged those for the planetaries, used that center section for the new Barefoot Racer, and then we took the steering knuckles and flanged them with Clark flanges and was able to put those on the 5-ton axles underneath Hercules. So we was able to use 2 axles and get all 4 axles assembled with those. And then another neat trivia thing is we used the cab and everything that came off of the Hercules truck, which was a Barefoot cab, and we put that back on the new Barefoot truck when we was restoring that. Okay, after all the fab work was finished and we had the body and engine, everything pre-fit, it was all disassembled and then it was ready for sandblasting. Once the sandblasting was finished, then we were ready for paint. After priming and painting the chassis, we took it back to Scott's shop, and he started the assembly process of all the drivetrain. Meanwhile, we were sandblasting and painting the body. After having the cab and body prepped, ready for paint, we mixed up a real good single stage paint, and we didn't want to do this truck in a base coat clear coat because we were trying to keep it authentic to the 80s. And originally it was painted with Emron. Now we're using a better high quality single stage paint. In all, we used over 7 gallons of paint on this project. Dave Smith donated the roll bar out of his Skyrider show truck stuff, and Brian Reiki had the original double stack light bar with the lights that he had on his show truck called Nightcrawler back in the day. He still had it hanging on the wall in his barn. After the bed was painted, Scott took it over to Thomas. Thomas's dad originally did the tonneau cover and all the upholstery work, and it was kind of neat to have him work on it.
Hi, I'm Tom Davis with Interiors by Thomas. We recently were contacted by Scott Hess to recreate a bed cover that my father had created at Garrett Auto Trim in 1986. And yeah, we were honored to do it. I thought it was super awesome that they were recreating that truck. I was 14 years old in 1986, so I remember it very vividly, coming home and that thing was sitting outside next to the building, had these, this huge jacked up truck. Back then it was, the neatest thing was to see the trucks just crawl over cars. We never seen that. So yeah, it took me back to my childhood, and we were very honored for Scott to contact us, and I couldn't say no. So yeah, it was a great privilege to hear that Scott was inducted in the Hall of Fame over there, and we were honored to be part of it.
One of the really cool deals too was Kevin Craig, KC, out of Fort Wayne. He used to do all of our lettering and striping back in the day, and he actually did all of the lettering and striping on Hercules originally. And we actually got him to come out of retirement, and do the truck just like it was originally. It was a lot of fun getting to visit with him and hear some of the old stories about how often Scott crashed it and how the paint would still be wet from the week before, and they'd be putting a new body on it, and he'd be pinstriping and lettering it overnight to get it ready for the next weekend. But it was really cool to have KC come back and do all that.